welcome or welcome back. This is Pairs Well with Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarn adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today. And today we are featuring my top 5 favorite things. This is a holiday series that I've been featuring of my very top 5 favorite things thematically, and this episode is a very knitty one. This is my top 5 favorite knitwear designers. So excited, super knitty. Get comfy, get cozy, and we'll get in with what I'm wearing. I am a little toasty today. We are wearing a Sophie scarf. This is a design by PetiteKnit. I shared this in my last video, which was everything I knit in 2024. Check it out. This is in 2 strands held double of Helix, which is a yarn by La Bien-Aimée. Gorgeous. The color is Hella. All right, let's get in. So I picked my top knitwear designers, mostly from this year, but you'll see a little deviation from that because these are my top 5 favorite things. I hope you enjoy. I hope that these are designers also you enjoy or new to you, and you will begin to enjoy. All right, my very first, and I feel very obvious, top knitwear designer is Melody Hoffman. If you've been following me this year and being along with me through my knitting journey, I have fallen hard for Melody Hoffman's patterns. They are stunning. I have knit 4 sweaters of her design. I should say 2 of her designs, but 2 versions each. I've knit her Wild Posy twice and her Tulip sweater twice. I find the construction of her sweaters really beautiful. The silhouette for myself with my body type just sits so nicely and actually fits me. I have not had to modify the pattern, which is fantastic and quite rare, I'd have to say, for knitting patterns in general from adult sizes for me, which is lovely and such a treat. They are all really beautiful designs, but really accessible and easy to follow. She definitely has many other patterns that I would love to knit. I would love to knit up everything, let's be honest. I mean, they're glorious. I feel her aesthetic is very natural, very, herbal, we'll say, and inspired by forest, which is lovely. And I do have a part of me that wants to be the forest girl. I'm very urban living. I live right downtown Toronto, but I make these work, I feel, for me, with whatever my aesthetic is. I find that with the designs that I've knit up of hers, of Melody Hoffman's, I can dress them up, I can dress them down, and they seem to be pretty universal by application, which is lovely. Other designs that I'd love to make of hers include Into the Woods, a very beautiful textured sweater. And I mean, any of the shawls, even though I'm not a shawl wearer, but they look really beautiful. The one that I've mentioned before and I've had my eye on is, if I can find it, the Wild Wood shawl. Just beautiful. She knits with a lot of unspun as well, and that's included in her samples. Melody Hoffman, one of my top faves, and I would have to say my number 1 top fave and new to me designer this year of 2024. But we're in 2025 now, so let's celebrate. The next designer, and I'm careful with how I say designer, I'll say collaboration of design, is Sandnes Garn. I think this stems from the purchase I made of the hard book, like it's an actual knit book, the Sandnes Garn Soft for Women, that really, I think, allowed me to dive into the Sandnes Garn designs. These are designs, of course, by a yarn company, so they feature only Sandnes Garn yarn, of course, in all of their patterns. They have so many beautiful commercial yarns that I feel are really accessible globally. So this is a designer that could work, or I should say a collaboration of designers, I feel, that could work for many people if you are not taking a risk and mixing different yarns not recommended by the pattern. So if you want to go for yarns recommended by the pattern, this is a great option. These are paid for patterns. Now, accessibility of getting these patterns can vary depending where you are in the world. I know going over to Norway, it seemed all of these patterns are printed versions of booklets and little pamphlets, if you will, that are available with yarn purchases. Over here in Canada, it seems to be a little more variation on that. First of all, they're not as accessible. You can't get your hands on them often in yarn stores, I find. I am starting to pick around. I've even found, I'd mentioned that the Galt House of Yarn in Cambridge, Ontario has a really great amount of a variety of Sandnes Garn books and booklets, so like full-on knit yarn books, and then pamphlets as well that you can purchase even without yarn purchase, which is nice if you want to dabble with variety of yarn outside of just the recommended yarn and being a naughty knitter, which is totally my thing, maybe yours too. But I have heard through the grapevine that Sandnes Garn will be offering potential online digital patterns soon. Whatever that means, I don't know. I mean, we're not going to hold our breath in 2025. It may happen, it may not. With this yarn producer and then design, I've knit a number of these designs. I'm just looking down the list. They're Green Seganser, they're Lugenser, I've knit the Amy Slipover. Yeah, so far. There's a really beautiful, I think, style and aesthetic from Sandnes Garn. They obviously, you know, they're making the trends, I would say, for knitwear. They have to be on top of the trend, of course, but they're creating it. But they have a really great array of classics as well. I know a sweater that's come up in my feed, I'll say, that gets thrown at me, and it is just tickling my fancy, and I may have to get this, is the Tinda Ladies, what is it called? Tinda Ladies sweater. I've seen a couple podcasters already knit a version of this beautiful sweater, and it is a bulky weight sweater. It is the only pattern that the Galt House of Yarn had that recommended the, what's it called? Oh gosh, it's the Sandnes Garn I don't know how to say it. Fritidsgarn. This is a very bulky and rustic, loosely spun, I think it's a 2-ply yarn. I had my eye on this yarn when I was over in Norway, but I just didn't have room on my suitcase. And I have found it available in Ontario. I'm very intrigued. This may be the sweater for me, but I'm going to go quite different colors than what they've done in the sample, which is still beautiful in the sample, of course. I mean, I could literally, again, I could knit everything that they have. They had a really interesting, and I can't find it quickly. It was a crochet square sweater of all these tiny little crochet squares that they have stitched together and made a sweater out of. It's beautiful. I mean, great design. So this is Sandnes Garn. My next knitwear designer that I would love to talk about is Pernille Larsen, or I should say Pernille Larsen. She is the Mummy and Mummy and Daughter team of Knitting for Olive. Glorious yarn, really beautiful, really eco, really mindful, thoughtful yarn in all kinds of different like fibers and yarn weights. And yeah, the mother designs beautiful knitwear pieces. It began with little people, like children and babies, and has grown into all people, including, of course, adult women, males, and she makes beautiful designs. Her finished products, the finished objects, are stunning. I've knit just this year her Carl Johan sweater, which is a really, I would say, simple but super classic saddle shoulder that I've showed in my last episode, and it will not be my last. I find her designs are just, I don't know how to say it. They're classy, but they meet modern. They're a really lovely mix. They're very popular I mean, we've probably all heard of Knitting for Olive. We've definitely become familiar with her knitwear as well, even in North America here. Sweaters that I would love to knit of hers that I have not yet, but are definitely my queue. The Fern sweater, I've had my eye on that one forever. I love her late summer wrap sweater. I might have to knit at a higher gauge. She's come out with the Astrid sweater, really unique hemline. I mean, she'll be continuing to make, I'm sure, beautiful designs moving into 2025. So we'll keep an eye out on her and her beautiful designs. We are interrupting today's podcast with a special announcement. Yesterday was the release of the Plug and Play Slipover, which is the one I'm wearing, and the vest that I have shown a couple times on the channel. So excited, so thrilled. It's live right now. The link is found below. If you want to find out more information, we've got a beautiful, super fun, minimal design of a vest. Front panel, back panel, fully covered. We have open air sides and a tab that connects the two to allow for great temperature control, but still is cozy with a mock neck finish. We've got some side seaming that happens, but don't worry, with all these different new techniques that you might see on this vest, they're enjoyable to do with the help of tutorials that I've created. There are 6 tutorials in total. Some, I think, techniques that most of you will probably totally know, and some might be very new. So the gauge count in the slipover is a 14 stitch gauge count, which makes it a bulky knit. Allows for so many different options and yarn options to plug in. So you're looking at 1 strand of bulky weight yarn. Held single, of course, is one option, or you can start to combine and get a little more creative with 1 strand of worsted and a mohair, or 2 strands of unspun, which of course has my heart. So many different options that you can do to make really interesting fabrics and different flowiness of the vest. Really excited. Our testers did a fabulous job and chose some really interesting, beautiful yarns, yarn combinations. The fabrics and the knits worked up delightfully, and I'm so thankful for them. As always, so far in the journey of knitwear design, working with our testers has just been such a beautiful experience. Everyone was very helpful, very collaborative, and super positive, bringing everyone up. It was lovely. So thank you to the testers. Thank you if you tested. I very much appreciate it. And all the communication that happened. Of course, at the end, I always ask for feedback as well from our testers. And it was just delightful to hear the experiences that they had, which was lovely, very positive, and as well some beautiful feedback that helped improve the pattern. One last thing with the pattern is that I collaborated with a lovely tech editor. The name of the tech editor is Sandra Whitaker. She's also from Toronto. I had the pleasure of having a sip with her before the holidays, and this was our first time meeting and then of course working together. She did review this pattern, and so I feel very comfortable and satisfied and confident having this published as a full and first garment of mine. So very thankful to her as well. So thank you, Sandra, if you're watching, listening. It's been such a lovely adventure. So I hope you join us for the Plug and Play Slipover. Again, link is found below for the pattern. And yeah, happy knitting and happy choosing your Plug and Play Slipover yarn. My next up has to be PetiteKnit. I don't think I can come up with a top 5 favorite for knitwear designers and not mention what we would classify as a modern classic knitwear designer. I mean, they're just patterns that speak to everyone, as a knitter and non-knitter alike. We have all made a number of things, of garments, of accessories, of petite knit. If you like it, if you don't, we have all knit something and we continue to. I find even for me, with these designs that PetiteKnit comes up with. They're so accessible. The instructions are so easy to follow. They hold your hand. The videos from, I think it's Kimmy Munch, some do like a translation, even just visually following along with the techniques, make the pattern instructions followable for someone that's never done these techniques before. So the patterns range from really strict beginner knitter all the way to advanced, and I strongly believe, of course, it's a great designer to follow, not only for knitting, technique use, beginner experienced knitter, loving the finished product, but applying these, I think, base skills and acquired new techniques into really beautiful and new pieces that we create on our own. It just, I mean, goes without saying, the most popular knitwear designer in the world. And it has to be mentioned because even looking back at my 2024 makes, I knit a number of the PetiteKnit designs. Yep, so that is not going to go anywhere for a long time. And my last knitwear designer that I want to talk about today, my top 5, is Amy Kristoffers. She is just a beautiful designer, one that I have knit a number of times of already and will continue to venture into her various patterns. She also goes by Savory Knitting. She has a lot of unique pieces, be it different color work, a lot of mosaic. I knit her Press Flowers pullover. It's in the Press Flowers family. She has a cardigan and socks and hats and all kinds of beautiful things. If you are into free patterns, I did find a Press Flower kerchief that she's come out with. Very, it's a beautiful pattern and free, which is amazing. So it's a small kind of micro shawl that is in my queue, just waiting to be knit up. I've knit a number of Felix pullovers. I've done 3. I've given away 1. I would definitely give the cardigan a go. It's an easy knit. It's a beautiful knit. Again, it's a classic meets modern, and I think this is where my heart is with knitwear. Again, I would love to do the Felix cardigan. She's come out with a beautiful mosaic knit, like just kind of, I think it was the fall end of August, kind of almost fall, 2024. The poly cardigan, super beautiful. Again, it's knitwear that's exciting and stunning pieces, interesting to make, and I think continues to grow our skills. So that's Savory Knitting or Amy Kristoffers. And for our Little Knits giveaway, this was a knit along, the Little Knits KAL, that was featured just before the holiday and during to help us knitters knit something small that we normally maybe wouldn't for ourselves or for others over the holiday. We have 2 fabulous prizes that were generously provided by Canadian makers and small business owner. The first is Loper and Haas. This is a small maker that is a beautiful leather goods maker. The prize is a small envelope wallet, and the other prize is from the Mariner's Daughter. This is a mother-daughter team with a gorgeous yarn shop out in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and they're offering up a $25 gift card. Just wanted to show some of the beautiful little knits that were featured with the hashtag Little Knits KAL over and before the holidays to enter. We're going to be rolling away with our randomized drive, put all of the makers in, and our first prize will be SR Handmaids. Congratulations to you. You're the winner of the small envelope wallet with Loper and Haas. And second prize is KAL. This winner will be receiving the $25 gift card from Mariner's Daughter. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all. Those are my top 5 knitwear designers of 2024. Let me know who your favorites are. Do you have the same? Any of the 5 designers that I mentioned? Do you have different designers? Did I miss anyone essential that I should have mentioned? Or maybe someone totally different that I've never knit pattern of before, let me know. If you enjoyed this episode and others like it, I invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. You can always click down on the link below if you're feeling a little more, and donate to the Ko-Fi page. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thrilled that you're here. Thrilled that we got to sit and chat for a bit. I wish you great joy in your knitting, and until next time, take care.